All those shots you just saw were captured on a water housing that, let me grab it, actually. All of those shots were captured on this, a budget water housing. We're talking just a little over $500. But is buying a budget water housing the best or worst decision of your life? That's what we're covering today. I'm gonna give you my thoughts and my final verdict. And just like last week's video, if you wanna skip strictly to the review and the verdict, see the timestamp in the description below. But if you wanna stick around and watch the vlog and real world test of using this, just stay tight because I'll roll it right now.
Good morning, my friend.
What time is it?
7:03 in the morning.
It is 7:03 in the morning. I'm not good. I'm not good in the morning at all. I'm so tired. It's not even that early. My hands are full because I need to load Justin's car with a lot of stuff. And I'll explain more about what's going on in a sec. Would you mind informing my audience where we are going today?
Look, we have two options, but our main mission is to go to the west side of the island. What do you want?
2 Egg McMuffins and a hash brown. We made it! We're at Electric Beach, west side of Oahu. Very, very beautiful. Hello, Larissa. Hello, Gavin Graf.
Oh, hello.
So Gav here, Justin's brother, is an FPV pilot now, right?
Oh, I don't know if I have earned that distinction yet.
You've earned the title.
I own an FPV drone. I don't know if I'm a pilot yet.
Skill. Show the people what's inside, man. Don't be
Give
shy.
the people what they
Give them
want.
what they want. Look at this thing, dude. So GoPro 8 slides right in there. Gav connects. He looks like a space soldier from 2041, and he flies this thing like you wouldn't believe it. On the left.
I gotta be careful because last time Jackson was filming me fly, he was filming me and I flew straight into a tree.
Take that, dude. SpaceX. Oh, God! Now, you're buying a budget water housing could be the best or worst decision of your life.
For me, it was the worst decision. For Jackson, it worked out.
For me, it's been pretty good. The Micon Seafrogs housing is like the cheapest housing, water housing on the market. And generally, water housing is not something you want to skimp on, but I heard from Justin Seafrogs was good, so we're trying it out. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't leak on me. I've used it twice and it hasn't leaked, so we're gonna hope it's not third time a charm here. I'm gonna get ready right here, but I forgot my fins. That was everything I could have ever dreamed of. Water housing held up great. Everything felt good with it. No leaking. The light stayed green. I'll talk about that later. It's go touch base with the crew, go see what they thought, go see how Justy's dive went, and then go back to the studio and talk about the housing. Woo!
Oh my God, I would never eat McDonald's, seriously. I'm so above McDonald's, like, I just not, is for the environment and like.
Justy, how was it, dude?
Oh, dude, every time in the ocean is just the best thing ever. Especially when you're scuba diving and you can just breathe underwater. Oh, I love it. There's a really big turtle. Biggest turtle I've seen in a while.
Those pipes were crazy.
Did you swim down and like get pushed by it?
Oh yeah, big time.
Did you get pushed out to sea or?
Oh yeah, I went like mile offshore, dude. All right, well, I'm gonna bring the water housing back home. We're gonna open it up. I'm gonna talk about it, how everything went, what I liked, what I didn't. Good day, keep it rolling. See you back home. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the review portion of the video. If you didn't watch the vlog, well, that's okay. Sometimes you just want to find the answer. And if you're here for the answer, what's the question? Is buying a budget water housing worth it? We all want to ball on a budget, but is water housings a place you should skimp with money? I'm here to answer that question, and I can only speak for the water housing that I have, which is the Seafrogs Panasonic, specifically designed for the Gh5. If you did watch the vlog, all of those underwater shots were captured using this housing. And as you can see, they look pretty crispy. First thing first that I want to jump into before we get into anything else is the housing itself. What are the features on it? What do I like about it? What do I not like? So on and so forth. First of all, I think the actual functionality and design of the housing is really pretty good. Pretty much every single button that you're gonna want or need is on this housing except for aperture. You can't adjust the aperture, at least with the Gh5 housing, but it's not that big of a deal. You just set your aperture before you put it in the housing and you keep it there. To work around that, you just adjust shutter speed and or ISO to work around the lighting. So, functionality and design gets an A for me. Does everything I need it to do. I really like how lightweight this housing is. It really isn't very heavy. I have a buddy who bought the Nautica housing. It's a dive housing and it is like a massive brick of metal. It's bomb-proof. You can pretty much do anything with it and I'm sure it wouldn't break. But wait, it's heavy. Not always a good thing, but could also be a really good thing. Depends on how you look at it. Jumping into the housing and the attachments and safety features of it. First things first, let's get rid of this handle. Boom. Handle. Cap, more specifically, vacuum valve. Boom, vacuum valve. I've got two GoPro mounts, one on the top, one on the bottom, just stickies that I mounted on top here. Switch to the top cam, you can see it right there. Reason I mounted those there was so that I could put a GoPro underneath or on top, a Fusion, a Max, whatever it is. That way if I'm shooting photos on the housing, I can be rolling video on the GoPro or vice versa. I think that's it for external attachments that I purchased separately other than the dome port itself. This wide angle dome port, you can see it's like a big bubble. This is not the dome port that this Seafrogs housing comes with. The one that it comes with is this little peanut. It's made for the 12 to 35 lens for the Gh5. This dome port is made for the 7 to 14 wide angle lens. So I did buy this separately, which bumped the price up about $120 something. I recommend it though, because if you're shooting underwater, a wide angle lens is gonna be the most immersive and capture the action the best in my opinion. So if you were to just buy this housing flat out, I believe it costs $495. Again, not including this port. It wouldn't come with this attachment and it wouldn't come with an air vacuum. But if you're gonna ball on a budget and buy a housing like this, I recommend getting attachments so that one, you're gonna improve your safety and two, improve the functionality of it. A handle for obvious reasons. You got something to hold, something to grip, it's gonna give you more stability. Vacuum pump, very, very, very highly recommend because it acts as a double safety feature, which I'll get into right now. Let me go grab the vacuum pump. Basically on Seafrogs Panasonic website, you can buy this thing separately, and what it does is basically acts as an air seal pump. Press right here, you can see this red light blinking. See that red light? There's a red light here. When I put my camera in the housing, I lock it all up, and then I take this airtight vacuum, and you just go like this for a really long time. When your wrist starts to hurt, that means you're almost there. Oh, the wrist is really starting to hurt. Okay, we gotta be there soon. Okay, I gotta switch hands. That is getting painful. Boom, see that? Light turns green. So what that means is that the actual seal is now airtight. It's vacuumed. The air's all sucked out of it. So there's physically no way that water can get in if it's suctioned so tight that air can't even, right? All in all, that is a major feature and why I think this housing actually works. Not only if you buy this airtight vacuum, you also have a beeper on the inside, which I mentioned earlier. So if the vacuum fails, you'll one, see the light go red, which will in turn give you time to put your camera above the surface. And two, if water really gets in, you're gonna hear this. Unless it's flooding to massive amounts, probably not gonna get enough water in there to truly damage your camera. At least from my experience, nothing bad has really happened to the point where I've had concern, except for the first time I used it. The first time I used this housing, I took it to a shore break where I wanted to shoot shore break barrels. I got crushed by a barrel. Yeah, this is where this housing falls apart. I don't recommend using this thing in waves because the first day I ever took it out, I got crushed and the housing flooded with a little bit of a concerning amount of water. There was a little good sized puddle in there. If you're trying to use this in waves, don't go budget. Spend the money, get a sick housing, one that's bomb proof. You see, every other time I've used this housing, I've used it on boat days, on glassy days, snorkeling, scuba diving, whatever the situation may have been. As long as there wasn't a wave around, I was using this thing and I never had a problem since. Every now and then, I'll have the air vacuum airtight pump go red on me. It looks like that, blinks red, very clear to see underwater, but I've never had the screamer go off. I've only had the airtight vacuum pump go red. Switch to the top cam real quick. One thing that I've found actually helps increase your chances of that light not going red is taking your finger, licking it, and then wiping around this white O-ring here. Make sure there's no dust, no sand particles, no hair. Wipe it clean of any sort of particles. Close it, clamp it, boom, and then start your air pump. That's the best luck I've had in terms of that light staying green and giving me absolutely no fear at all. The beeps are still going off. Let me clean that. Well, that's super annoying. This isn't obvious, but for those that don't know, you are supposed to clean a housing after you're done using it in salt water. I just spray it down with a hose, press all the buttons, make sure that they are all working properly, and squish the fresh water through the buttons. That's gonna give it longevity. So just something to note that you do have to do every single time after you use it. Kind of annoying, but worth it for sure. Every now and then there will be little scratches on this dome. That's natural. I mean, it's pretty hard to prevent any scratches ever from happening. So key to that is these. They're called Novus scratch removers. Comes in 3 bottles. We'll switch to the overhead here. You got 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 is the plastic clean and shine. 2's for a little deeper scratches, and 3's for the deepest, heaviest scratches. They're just little gels you rub on, and then you take a little sheet and buff it out. Buff the little scratches out like they never even existed. Speaking to Seafrogs as a brand, my buddy Justin, who I was with in that vlog, co-worker, good friend, he also bought a Seafrogs water housing, and he was in fact the guy that recommended them to me. He used to have an A7S II, and he bought a Seafrogs water housing for his old A7S II, and he said it worked flawlessly. He'd just throw it in, didn't even have an air vacuum. He'd throw it in, clamp it shut, jump in, any cliff, He recommended Seafrogs to me because of his experience. So then when I went to buy this Gh5 housing, he upgraded cameras, got a Sony A7S III, and went to buy the Seafrogs A7S III housing, and he had a much different experience than I did. His housing flooded a couple of times with a considerable amount of water that you wouldn't really want in there. It didn't cause any serious damage. He was able to get it out of the water before anything bad happened, but he stopped using it because it's not performing the way that it should. All I can vouch for is the Gh5 Seafrogs housing and my personal experience. The last thing I want to do is guide you guys in a direction to buy a housing that floods, because that would suck for everybody. I would probably hear about it too if it came from me. My final request to you is to understand what you're shooting and how much you see yourself in the water and what type of water you see yourself being in. If you're shooting waves or anything powerful like waves, don't get this housing or a cheap one for any matter. However, if you don't see yourself shooting in the water that much, and when you are in the water, just shooting flat water or surface shots or snorkeling shots or just shallow dives, I think you'll be fine with a budget water housing, at least from my experience with this Seafrogs Gh5. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about budget water housings, or more specifically the Seafrogs Gh5 housing, let me know in the comments below. I hope I answered any questions and cleared up any fog for you. If you got value from this video, please click the subscribe and like button, because it helps me out more than you'll ever know. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, because we got videos like this coming out every single week. I talk cameras, I do vlogs, all sorts of different things, and we're just getting started. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you next Friday.
Yeah, I make decisions to glow. Ridiculous flow, potential to glow. You know, I just do that. Consolidate my regions, line it up, put them together. Anyone that ever let me down, forget them forever. My memory's bad. Remember me though? My memory's gone. My memory, it limits me home. No tree huggers, cause all the lumber's gone.